You know, I just have a difficult time believing I can do this or that or whatever. When I set a new goal, I have difficulty believing I can do it. You come to believe. You don't start out with belief. I don't start out with belief. When I set a goal, I don't believe I can do it. Intellectually, I know I can do it. But in my heart, no. So you know what I do? I just keep repeating it. I keep repeating it over and over and over again. I turn it into a song.
If I wasn't persistent in my goals of wanting to become an African-American quarterback, I probably would have quit somewhere along the way. African-Americans weren't really thought of as quarterbacks, as leaders, as faces of franchises, as guys who could think and make decisions. And everywhere along the way where people told me I couldn't, I just had to prove that I could. I got to a level in college where I was the Pac-8 Player of the Year. I was the most valuable player in the Rose Bowl, a game that I had always dreamed of playing in as a young kid. And then I felt like I was going to get my opportunity to maybe play in the National Football League, which was my dream. But I was constantly told throughout the process of the draft that I was going to be changed and my position was going to be either a wide receiver or a defensive back. So that's where I had to make a huge decision in my life. What am I going to do? Am I going to take this NFL opportunity at a position that I didn't love, that I'd never played before? Or do I want to go and play in Canada, a country I've never been to, a style of play that I had never played before, but they were going to give me the chance to play quarterback? I'm having a great career up there. You know, we're winning championships. I'm winning MVP awards. But in the back of my mind is, how good a player am I? Could I play with the best? So that's one of the things that motivated me to come back to the National Football League, was to see how I measured up against the best players in the world. And I answered a lot of those questions, and I answered a lot of that doubt by being able to come back and play at a high level. The status that I was able to achieve as an African-American man at that position gave motivation to a generation of young players that could look to me, look to some other guys that played during my era. I helped make a difference at a position where there was a lot of stereotypes, as I talked about, and racism in certain areas. And now that I've finished the game, one of my big motivations is to help others by using the status that I've achieved and using the platform that I've been able to gain by doing that.
If your goals and desires are stronger than the adversity that you will face, and we're going to face adversities, it'll pull you through, and then you'll be successful. I can't achieve my success without temporary defeat, without getting kicked in the face every now and then. But that's okay. Use it as education. And that's where you can rely on the pillars of the 13 principles for success that are within this book.
When the opportunity came and the Napoleon Hill Foundation was looking for somebody to write the Latino version, and I heard about it, I thought, that's me, I've got to do it. One of my favorite stories is a story of Jesse Trevino. He became one of the most famous and respected Latino artists in the country. His works hang at the Smithsonian Museum in Washington, D.C. But as a younger man, few can imagine the fear he faced and the courage he summoned. The year was 1967. The Vietnam War was raging, the draft was on, and Jesse received a telegram. Report in 3 days to your local draft office in San Antonio. And he decided to serve. He said, yeah, I want to go and do my part for my country. And all of a sudden, he was right in the middle of battle.
Dear Mama, I'm a foot soldier patrolling the Mekong Valley in Vietnam. In just 3 months, half of my unit has been either killed or wounded. Every day I imagine being home, and near to you. So much pain in a place that is so beautiful.
His right arm was on fire and all but severed at the elbow. The main artery in his leg was cut. He couldn't move. He was bleeding to death. Private First Class Jesse Trevino survived, thanks to the quick action of his buddies, who dragged him to a helicopter and flew him to a MASH field hospital. They patched him up and saved his life. He almost lost his leg. He had shrapnel all over his body. But he did lose his right hand. Now he was an artist, and his painting hand was gone. 2 years passed. His wounds were healing, but his heart grew deep with despair. He agonized over the idea of what he could paint, or if he could. Then one day a thought, like a spark of light out of the darkness.
If I learned to paint all over again, with my left hand, I'll paint the things that I love the most. My family and my neighborhood.
He took classes with beginning artists. He painted murals of the horrors of war. He even got his master's degree. Then he made the biggest discovery of all. The talent and knowledge needed to paint was in his mind, in his heart, not in his hand. And it had been there all along. With his left hand, he became one of the most successful artists in the United States and in the world. Today, as he talks about that experience, he feels that if that had not happened to him, he would not have been able to be the artist that he became, because it gave him a stronger determination. He said, I am going to do it no matter what.
A lot of people set out with a great desire to accomplish what they want, but they get tripped up along the way, tripped up by obstacles. So I think every hugely successful person I've met has extreme desire. But you know what they have that is so grossly underestimated more than anything else is an inability to feel sorry for themselves when they get hit. They certainly feel the pain like everybody else, but they're very good at getting back up fast without feeling sorry for themselves. And I have found that to be my #1 trait. But it's the inability to feel sorry for yourself that explains an enormous amount of success in life. Personal, business, whatever your goal is.
I've had a lot of people talk to me about my legacy. And when I was growing up, my dad would ask me each night, have you added value to someone's life today? And so I believe legacy is created each and every day. As individuals, if we add value to other people's lives, then our legacy is there, because they will remember us having added value to their lives. It's never been on my bucket list to be a celebrity. In the last few years, I realized that by becoming more of a celebrity and being out there, I can impact more lives by sharing the information that I've learned through my many years of experience. And so it's important for me so that at night I can say I truly have added value to someone's life today.
I was only 11 when my father died, and I was the eldest of 5 children, so I had to overcome it. He never treated me like a regular girl. He never stopped me from doing anything. I remember that some of my friends would say, don't do that, only boys can do that. My father never stopped me from doing anything. The legacy I wanted to leave behind is the continuation of what my father gave me, the belief that there are no boundaries to what you want to achieve in life. You see, a seed was planted in my mind before my father passed away. His encouragement and belief in me is like the water, and the harvest is the legacy I'm leaving behind. You set your mind into something, you focus on it, you make it happen.
I believe it's extremely important to know our why and to know our purpose throughout every stage or season of life, and it could change and evolve. When I was a kid, all I cared about was being a great athlete and being the best that I could be. At the time, I actually wanted to be better than everyone else. My vision and my purpose, my legacy was to be the best. But I felt angry still. I felt unfulfilled. I felt like something was missing. And I didn't understand until later in my 20s where I was like, it's because I'm selfish. It's because I'm only thinking about me, and I want me to be highlighted as the best and everyone else to be second place. And as I started to realize that my life is about service, it's about giving, it's about serving others, that's when I started to achieve my goals and not feel empty inside. When our inner world evolves, our outer world evolves, and things start coming to us in a natural flow in life. My current legacy is to inspire 100 million people to show them how to make a full-time living doing what they love.
The Marconi story, to me, was inspiring because oftentimes people thought I was crazy, too. Hearing Marconi's story was like, maybe I'm not the one that didn't belong. Maybe I actually might be exceptional.
Mr. Marconi? Sir?
Yes, I'm busy at the moment.
Mr. Marconi, we respectfully request that you come with us, sir.
I couldn't possibly. I'm right in the middle of...
We have papers that give us the authority to take you...
Papers? Are you from the government?
No, we're...
From the military? Ministry of Defense?
No, sir.
Thank God for that.
We're from the hospital.
What hospital?
St. Albans.
It must be a misunderstanding. Isn't that a mental asylum?
Yes, sir. If you would just come quietly, I'm sure we can straighten this out later.
On whose authority?
The hospital is called by your friends.
Friends?
Acquaintances, perhaps? Concerned for you.
And on the gossip of idle, ignorant troublemakers...
If you'll just come with us, sir, I'm sure it'll be straightened out.
I will not come with you. This is insane.
As you say, sir.
We have a straitjacket in the carriage, but we don't want to be forced to use it. It's for your own good, sir.
I'm sure.
Mr. Marconi, I am Dr. Fielding.
Finally, an intelligent person, hopefully.
Do you know why you are here?
I assumed I said too much at a dinner party after a glass or two of champagne, talked about things people don't understand.
Your friends are concerned about you, and I must say, so am I.
Friends?
You claim to be able to send and receive human voices through the air.
Yes.
Well, you obviously don't realize it, but this is the textbook definition of schizophrenia.
I don't hear disembodied voices in my head.
Good.
I send voices through the air from one device to another by way of invisible waves.
And this is less delusional, how exactly?
It's less delusional because it's true.
That has not been my experience.
Your experience is the thing, it's the thing of the past.
And you?
I'm a thing of the future.
You interest me.
I'm happy for you. And you have a patient that interests you. For my own part, I have been forcibly removed from my home and my work. I've been stripped of my clothes, given an ice bath, dressed in prison pajamas, and my only crime was to be a little too smart for the smart set in London. Now, if allowed to return to my workshop, I can demonstrate these things, preferably in my own clothes.
Come with me.
Years later, Guglielmo Marconi won the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1909 at the age of 34. He is now universally recognized as the inventor of the radio. Marconi understood the power of a new idea.
So one of my biggest defeats came 2 months after I launched. All of a sudden I saw that my statistics for my podcast were way, way down. Like at first I thought it might be a mistake, and I kind of double checked the phone, I refreshed my browser, I actually even wrote an email to support of the media host company. And I said, are your stats working? And they said, oh yeah, we're working fine, no problem. And I said, wow, so this could be the beginning of the end. And I was really down, and I was thinking, do I list my microphone on Craigslist? Like, am I gonna pack it up? Am I really gonna sell everything and try something different and admit defeat? Fired up my computer and saw an email from a listener. And he started off by introducing himself as a military veteran. So I had that connection with him right away because we both served in Iraq. And he was telling me about his struggles coming back and about the struggles he had with PTSD. And then he went on to say how that morning he was particularly down in the dumps. He had recently broken up with his girlfriend, and he just really felt by himself, like nobody cared. He went for a long walk, really kind of considering what it would look like if he committed suicide, like if he ended his own life. Kind of out of the blue, had his phone with him, plugged in his earbuds, and turned on my podcast. My voice came on, you know, a little over-enthusiastic, which I tend to do sometimes. But he said he needed it. Like, he needed that kind of positive outlook. By the end of that episode, which was 25 minutes in length, his mindset had completely shifted. He went from somebody who was only looking for the negatives in life, and by the way, finding the negatives, because that's what he was looking for, to saying it really can't get much worse, so why not just hope that it starts to get better? And that was essentially the theme and the message that that podcast episode was focused on. You could just see that by the end of the email, he was really excited and fired up about what his next step was going to be. Like, I remember finishing that email and saying, wow, like if my podcast can positively impact somebody in this way, even if it's just one person, why am I so concerned about not having the huge numbers that I had when I first launched? And that was 4 years ago. That was over 1,400 episodes ago. That was over 40 million listens ago. So I'm really glad that I didn't pack it in.
One of my favorite all-time stories of Think and Grow Rich is the Charles Schwab story. It's about succeeding with what you already have. And it reminds me of an interview I had an opportunity to sit down with Steve Wozniak. Now, you probably know him from Apple Computers with Steve Jobs. And I asked him, I says, how did you and Steve have so much success in your life? And he looked at me and said, we succeeded with what we already had. I go, what are you talking about? He said, when microchips came out, they were so expensive, we could only afford one chip. He goes, Jobs sold his Volkswagen, I sold my calculator, we pooled our money to buy one chip. He goes, but Hewlett-Packard was rich. They had all the money of God. They could go from point A to point B using 20 chips, where we simply couldn't afford it. So I'd pull away 5 and configure it to work. And then I'd pull away 5 and get it to work. Till finally, I could go from point A to point B using our one chip. He goes, look, we weren't trying to be cool or innovative or slick. We could only afford one chip. But by embracing that as an opportunity, I found the shortest, cleanest path. And by doing so, changed the way people do personal computing for the rest of the world, for the rest of their life. What are you sitting on right now that looks like the greatest challenge, but it might just be the greatest blessing in disguise?
My mentor was a guy named Dennis Waitley in the speaking profession. Dennis wrote the foreword to my very first book, and I was on a speaking tour with he and Dr. Robert Schuller, and they twisted my arm into writing my first book. And I always had that cane folded up in my suitcase when I traveled. I never used it, but that white cane, I kept it, and then Dennis Waitley, 40 years later, on his 80th birthday, came to an event I was doing in San Diego. I brought him up on stage and I gave it to him, and on his 80th birthday, he was going to climb Mount Kilimanjaro. And he said, I'll accept your gift. With your permission, I'll leave this on top of Mount Kilimanjaro. If you'll promise when you're 80, you'll go get it back. And that's where my cane is.
3 feet from gold. And that story always reminded me that at all times I could just be 3 feet from gold. It could be the next meeting, the next turn, the next chance encounter. That really propelled me and pushed me through some of those dark moments. You're always potentially just 3 feet from gold.
There was a man named Darby who was caught by gold fever in 1850. He staked a claim and went to work. After weeks of labor, he was rewarded.
There's a lot more where this one came from. Now, we just need the right equipment to get it out the ground. Now, everybody who puts in will get an equal share out. Everybody.
The first ore was shipped to a smelter. The return showed promise that they had one of the richest mines in Colorado. A few more cars of that ore would clear the debts. Then would come the big killing and profits. Down went the pickaxes. Up went the hopes of Darby and his investors. Then something happened. The vein of gold ore disappeared. They persevered, desperately trying to pick up the vein again, but to no avail.
Had a good run, I guess. And then it ran clean out. Nothing but rock. Spent all we had in this equipment. Maybe somebody else could use it.
I reckon I can find a buyer.
I'll give you
$100 for the lot.
Okay.
Where was this? Get your mind out.
This particular junk man had an eye for opportunity. He called in a geologist to do a little calculating.
By my reckoning, this mine failed because that fella Darby was not familiar with fault lines. When the earth shifts, the vein can jut over a few feet.
A few.
3, maybe 4, 5 feet at the most.
That is exactly where it was found. The junk man took millions of dollars in ore from the mine because he knew enough to seek expert advice when encountering an unexpected obstacle. He struck gold just 3 feet from where Darby gave up. When Darby heard about the riches he might have earned had he not quit, he made the most powerful decision of his life. He promised himself to never quit again in his new line of work. As an insurance provider, he became one of a small group of fewer than 50 people who sold more than $1 million in life insurance annually. He recouped his losses and paid all his family and neighbors back the money they had invested. He also discovered that desire itself can be transmuted into gold.
Surround yourself with people who are going to be there to bolster you while you build your self-confidence. Have people on your team who are strong where you are weak. Have people on your team who want to support you, have been where you want to go, mentors that will open the door for you. That power of association is so strong.
Everyone's still searching for that sense of power. And the first and most powerful way, literally, to do that is help someone else. And Napoleon Hill's vision is that happiness is absolutely created, not through riches, even though it's in the title, and it's confused a lot of people. The richness is in giving happiness to other people, giving that sense of power to them that they can influence others. And by influencing others, simply by making them feel valuable, important, unique. Now they've reaffirmed their own purpose, and now they realize their power was always there in the first place.
You are the defiant human spirit. And when you connect with that, you defy the things that hold you back from being all that you can be.
The biggest dream you ever had in your life is alive and well, and we all have those big dreams, goals, passions, callings, things we want to do in this life. And sometimes we haven't thought about them in 5 or 10 or 15 or 20 years, and the only thing you have to do to activate it is sit right where you're sitting right now and say, yes, I'm going to do that. I don't know how to do it, when to do it, where to do it, who to do it with, But once you say, yes, I'm going to do that, and you make that definite decision, the world starts to change.
You've been born an original, don't die a copy. There's nobody else like you. There's only one person that walks like you, has your handprints. Nobody has eyes like you. Don't be a discount version of yourself.
As you dig into Napoleon Hill's work, what you're really digging into is who you are. And who you are is so big. I have studied it every day for 55 years, and I think I'm just scratching the surface. Do yourself a favor and really begin to think. That is Napoleon Hill's legacy. That is your opportunity.
Cherish your visions and your dreams, as they are the children of your soul, the blueprints of your ultimate achievements. Create a definite plan for carrying out your desire, and begin at once, whether you are ready or not, to put this plan into action. Every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. Do not wait. The time will never be just right. Start where you stand and work with whatever tools you may have, and better tools will be found as you go along. Desire is the starting point of all achievement. Not a hope, not a wish, but a keen, pulsating desire, which transcends everything. The oak sleeps in the acorn. The bird waits in the egg. And in the highest vision of the soul, a waking angel stirs. Dreams are the seedlings of reality. Through some strange and powerful principle of mental chemistry, which she has never divulged, nature wraps up in the impulse of strong desire that something which recognizes no such word as impossible and accepts no such reality as failure. Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve.
focus in 2 things in life, and the rest will come by itself. It's on growing, and everyday growing in any aspect of your life, and the other is contributing. Every time that you contribute to another or you contribute to this world, you will learn and you will grow, and that's the best advice I can give.
Life is what you make it, and your thoughts make you. So whatever you think about and the desires that you have in your heart, if you believe it, you can get it.
For anybody that's actually looking to change themselves or their condition, whatever it is, that using the principles that Napoleon has written out for us as this blueprint, you can take these, implement them within your lives, and it's personal achievement at its finest, at its most basic element. And these things, if you just apply them to your lives, just a little series of daily disciplines, you'll have a dramatic impact over all aspects of your life.
For me, I always felt like I could do anything after I read the book. If I wanted it, put my mind to it, desired it enough, I could grow whatever I wanted. I took the chances because I had faith, and the faith that comes from the book that says, if you believe it, you can do it.
Make your own choices. Doesn't matter if they're good or bad. Let's just learn from them. And that's how you're going to create yourself. That's how you're going to mold your life. That's going to be your life.
You purposely decide what you want the contents of your mind to be, then you program in those thoughts. Now, your thoughts are still going to control you. You are still going to habitually act and react and think and feel and conduct yourself because of your thoughts. But you've put yourself in front of the process because now you have designed the contents of the thinking that will now automatically guide you. These things become habitual, and a person really can get to the point where 95% of the time they are actually thinking positive, and they're speaking positive, and they are acting as if they really expect and believe what they think is going to come about is going to come about. Napoleon Hill says that conduct yourself as if that which you want, is already, you already have it. Well, that's a very basic metaphysical principle and one of the most powerful. Act as if.
I started studying the subconscious mind and realized that it worked like an autopilot. For example, if you have a plane that's going from Stockholm to LA, and as soon as it has left the ground, the pilot can switch on the autopilot. As it goes a little bit out of course, the autopilot sets it back to the normal intended course. The same way our subconscious mind works, and that was a defining moment, realizing that I had an inner autopilot taking me places I didn't want to go. And through auto-suggestion in Think and Grow Rich, I got the tools to actually make a change.
Follow your dreams. Put up some goals. What do you want in life? What is your passion? Do whatever you want, not what your friends want.
Just feel the power of living your dream, and you can do whatever you want in your life. It's your dream.
Step out of your comfort zone. Do something that you don't think you can do, whether it's finishing a marathon, making $1 million, getting the guy, getting the girl, making the team. Don't be afraid to do it, because just once in your life you need to go out and try something that you just don't think you're able to do. And even if you don't make it happen, you're never the same. That the person you become when you push and actually try to do that, it just changes your life forever. And it's worth it. Just do it. Get out there and try it.